Our gracious Heavenly Father, let's thank you for this day, and thank you that we can come together and do your work for the Cherokee people. Guide and direct each of us that we might do your work and look over the soldiers overseas in harm's way, that they might return home safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Baker. Roll call.
Meredith Fraley.
Here.
Bill England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzer.
Here.
Julia Coates. Brad Cobb. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Connie Gloria Jordan. Here. Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Stokes.
Here.
David Thornton. Kara Callan Watt.
Honey.
Yes.
We have a quorum. The purpose of this special rules meeting is to discuss election law again. And the three items that we propose to discuss, and I think we're going to do these in total, are the discussion possible action of LA 1408 and the Supreme Court opinion and the appropriation numbers. And Mr. Hembry, I think you have your mind well organized. You're ready to go, right?
I'll do my best, Madam Chairman.
Looks like your mind is, but your paperwork isn't.
I don't know what is a better job security for people in this room, tarot or election law, but both seem to have taken on a life of its own. I asked Chairman Fraley to call a special meeting so we could focus on the status of the lawsuit that is, or lawsuits that are pending in the District Court and Supreme Court. We invited the Election Commission and their attorney here. Chief Smith, the other party of the lawsuit, is here also, and would welcome any comments that they would have. What I would want is just an open discussion on all three of the items. Is that, as you may be aware, the Supreme Court ruled, affirmed in part and remanded in part the original lawsuit that was brought in this action. What the state, as we see it, as I see it right now, and Chief Smith and Mr. Cole are welcome to join in, is that the Supreme Court remanded back that portion of the district of the case back to the Election Commission. They had ordered the Election Commission to do a report, a remand report to the Cherokee District Court based on numbers that they, or the apportionment requirement that is in the original election law. As a matter of fact, just prior to the Supreme Court making that decision, the Election Commission had already filed a report stating the numbers of citizens population per district and what they did, and I believe you'll have a copy of it. But this is what was originally passed in Legislative Act 1408, breaking it up into 15 separate districts. And these are the numbers that we have. Now, in the remand report, they have different numbers that will, that in some cases are drastically different than the numbers that we had in our district. Where we're at from here, obviously, is to, I would welcome the council to ask any questions of myself or the Election Commission on the formulation of those numbers, but more in particularly, I'm going to need guidance from you, my clients, to tell me what to do next, because we have different options. One option is to go back to District Court and say, we're fine with what we have here. You know, you need to make a determination whether that's constitutional or not based on one person, one vote deal. Another option is to amend 1408 and come with a different configuration of districts if you wanted to try to even out the numbers, so to speak. One option is to, what I would call pull the plug option, which is to repeal 1408 and go back to the 9 district scenario. But those are all things that are important for the council to consider. Also, the question of term limits is still before the Supreme Court, and they will make a decision on that in their own due time. I have talked with Mr. Cole and Mr. Chief Smith, and we are thinking about in the next few days of just the attorneys getting together and trying to figure out exactly where the path of the litigation should go from here. With that all being said, Chief, do you want to say anything in addition to that? Or?
No, I think in addition to the 3 options you mentioned, the 4th option is actually ask the Election Commission for their recommendations on districting. You don't have to take those recommendations, but then you have their experience in terms of logistics, notice, and such to review for your consideration in districting. The other thing that I mentioned to Todd before is that the act that you have, I've seen, I don't know if it's something you're considering today.
No.
If you could separate the districting issue out, then we could work in a non-adversarial situation on the rest of the mechanics that are necessary from the next election, regardless of what the districts are. So we isolate the one adversarial issue, or the issue we don't agree on is the number of districts, and then the rest of the code can be cleaned up and ready for the next election, regardless of districts.
Mr. Cole, did you have any comments?
Nothing at the present time other than I think where the court is, the district court is, back in Judge Fite's lap. And I think the next step for us to do as the attorneys is ask for and schedule an evidentiary hearing because the issue is still, the constitutionality of your present act and the 15 districts. So my anticipation is that one or all of us will be asking Judge Fite to have an expedited hearing, because particularly with the Commission's responsibility for the forthcoming election, if we're going to have 15 districts, we're going to have about 8 or 10 more polling places, additional personnel, and we have to renew all of our contracts each election as to our polling places. So we've got a considerable job ahead of us, realizing that if Judge Fite decides something, one or more parties may be unhappy with that decision and go on to the Supreme Court. So there's evidently further litigation that'll arise out of this present action one way or the other. And that's going to put some constraints on us about being able to be prepared for this next election. So that's the one thing that we're interested in, is trying to find out just where we are as soon as we can so that we can perform our services with regard to the election. But we'll be speaking together with the Chief and the Todd as far as the litigants are concerned, and hopefully get along there. And we're available today to answer any questions you have about our remand report that we've now filed.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hodgkin and then Ms. Cowan-Watts.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mr. Cole, has the Commission, you haven't taken a position on the constitutionality of the redistricting as such, correct?
No, we haven't.
And do you think you'll be called on to do that in this case? To at least brief it?
We may. That would be up to Judge Fite. Our position is this, that we're a service agency in this process. The chiefest question, of course, the constitutionality of it, and that's a legal issue now pending that would affect the Commission as to what our responsibilities are. And so you've got our report on our part of apportioning the 15 districts that you all have legislated. But no one has asked us. We might be inclined to respond if somebody did ask us. But at this point in time, it's not our position to suggest how many districts you have.
Todd, I have a question for you. If, the district court could strike down the act with respect to redistricting, do you think that the district court has the power to, in fact, create a new map that it suggests, or do you think that the court would simply strike it down and the act, that would be that?
Could the court do that? The answer would be yes, they could. Do I expect the court to do that? No, I wouldn't. I would expect Judge Pike to make a ruling one way or the other, whether it's constitutional or not, and if the parties wanted to appeal that to the Supreme Court, where again the Supreme Court could, either affirm or deny the constitutionality or the district court's ruling, and also the court at that stage could, take upon themselves to draw districts. A lot of that depends on the timing there is until the next election. But as to the district court level, I don't believe that Judge Pike would draw new districts, although I believe it could be in his power to do so.
There's no statute right now that prohibits the court from essentially writing a map. Is that right? That's an available remedy.
To me, it is.
Unless the council were to pass an act restricting that and it were to somehow become law.
I think judicial precedent is that the judiciary can, under certain circumstances, order the apportionment in a...
Absent something in a statute saying they couldn't.
Absent something that is proposed to the court for review, like your present act is.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Hoskin,
That's all. Thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Karen Watts, and then Ms. Gloria Jordan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I don't know that my mind is clear on what was given back to the courts by the Election Commission. So could you tell me what they did or didn't do? Like, what's the difference between what we gave and provided and passed versus what they passed?
And that would probably be best left to a member of the Election Commission or Mr. Cole. This remand...
Rather than Mr. Cole, I'd really like to hear from the chair of the Election Commission.
Okay, and he is present.
Here.
Sir. Did you receive a copy of this? That's the remand report. That is their numbers based on the same 50.
Yes, we asked David, I can't think of his last name right now. Justice. We asked David Justice to give us some guidance on how to do the reapportionment of the 15 districts. And the guidance that he gave us, or the method that he used, was the same method that he used for all you council people that worked diligently on this for a number of months. The numbers changed somewhat. The numbers that we got from registration had changed by a few thousand, and some of the zip code number totals had changed by a significant amount, resulting in the differences in some of the totals for each one of the counties, or not the counties, but the new districts. And but David isn't here today, but we did reaffirm in our last meeting that he did use exactly the same methodology to come with those numbers that he did for the council's numbers.
Ms. Karen Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So that begs the question. So I'd like to hear from David Justice and Leila Amerteski on how within just a few months we got such a significant swing in population. It begs that we had either inaccurate information at the time we made decisions, or something was changed, maybe, I don't want to say inappropriately, but without our knowledge about how things were done, because this is significant numbers, which has nothing to do with we're all being given information from other departments, so I need to understand the inner workings of how within 4 months, whatever it is, that we got the different numbers. So
You wanting to know the process of how they arrived at 2 different
yeah,
numbers?
I want to know the data and that process here. And thank you. You provided the answer I needed. Thank you so much.
Melanie, Mr. Amerteski, of course, couldn't be here, but Since this is subject of litigation, do you feel comfortable bringing your staff forward at this point?
Madam Speaker, I think that hits on a key issue because we do expect David and Leila to be called in the case in districting and answering some of those questions. What we might be able to do is if the committee would like specific technical questions answered, is if just submit them in writing and have them answered in writing, maybe we could do that. I would defer to Chief on that. Do you have any comment?
We'd like to facilitate the answer to that question, but feel very reluctant about entering the litigation, having witness be basically deposed by a committee. Either in writing or be glad to sit with Todd and Lloyd in a formal situation. They could visit with David and ask them questions along that line.
Thank you.
Ms. Count-Watts?
This is my last. So I don't know that this is a question so much as a statement. Again, there's a sense of urgency about the election that's pending and actually administering the Constitution the way I believe it has been asked of us by the Cherokee people. But I'm concerned about some of the legal fees that were being racked up around this too. So I don't know if there's a way that we can resolve this without all the, I mean, I don't think that we need to be in court. And that's what I'm hearing from some of the folks who just spoke. And I'm like, why are we racking up legal fees?
So would you accept something in writing that's provided to all council?
Yes, and I will work on that today and tomorrow to get that.
In regard
so we
to the
can
process
move
of how,
Yes.
is that agreeable with the council?
it. I hope other people have questions too that they'll submit.
Ms. Lori Jordan's next.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk with Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole, you're the legal counsel for the election board or commission, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you all believe at this point, as their legal counsel, do you believe at this point that the election commission has met the requirements provided in the current Constitution in providing the numbers to us?
I do. Of course, we've taken the same statistical resources that you all had when you did the apportionment. We've relied upon the same sources, registrar, as well as David Justice in doing the statistical work. So we've pretty well paralleled the same process that you all did in arriving at the map that we have, with one exception. We didn't use some arbitrary determinations of the peripheral areas where several number of citizens live just outside of the jurisdictional limits of the Cherokee Nation. We understand from David, lots of those people were included in the numbers that you all arrived at, whereas we stayed with the zip code and the land base, and the zip codes have changed some, and that's one of the reasons why we have such a disparity in one or two of the districts.
Do you feel at this point that your job or the election commission's job is complete?
I do.
And you've provided us that information, so now what happens is back in our body.
It is, and of course, we were directed by the district court, of which we are a defendant in that case, to remand our work back to the court. Now, we've done that. You have a copy of it. Mm-hmm. So we think we've done what we're expected to do. Now, of course, we know we're subject to an evidentiary hearing as to how we got there, what process we chose in reaching that apportionment. Then whether or not it reaches or satisfies constitutional requirements is a decision that the judge is going to make. So we're simply there to report back on how we did it, and you've got a copy of the map that we've done. We've got a copy of the report as to how we got there.
But your client has, at this point, no plans to provide us any other information?
Not unless it's requested.
Okay.
No, we've done what we've been asked to do. We haven't volunteered anything. We are responding to litigation that was filed and the legal issues that are involved in it.
But in doing so, you believe you all have completed your job?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Now I had one other comment to make, that on one of these rare occasions, I agree with the chief that we need to finish our rules. Chief, you can close your mouth now, I know. But we need to finish our rules, finish that job, give those rules in the form that we can, at least a majority of us can agree to the election commission, and we need to separate this redistricting issue for another day. I think that that would be the most appropriate thing for this body to consider at this time, is let's get our rules done, give those rules to the election commission, then take up your redistricting issue for another day, which is going to be a lot more than an hour's time.
Can you give the committee time to think about your request? Well, Mr. Baker, you have a question?
Well, I'm not making a motion at this
Okay.
time, but I'm just giving you my idea that I do agree with the chief on that we're close to getting these rules done. We need to complete them today, move those forward, and then on the redistricting, that's probably going to be for another day.
Mr. Thornton?
I need to ask Lola something.
Mr. Cole?
Mr. Cole? When you were doing your zip coding of the district, did you go outside the Cherokee Nation with those zip codes?
No,
You stayed
we stayed within the 14 counties.
And
And I think that was one of the distinctions.
Was your numbers larger or smaller than ours?
Well, our at-large grew up.
Okay.
That number increased considerably from what you all had.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Calmont?
I think when I stepped out, it looks like the information may be that we were looking at 2007 numbers, and this was May 2009. So I could see significant shifts of that magnitude. But also there were shifts and changes in how the PO box or the zip codes by the U.S. Postal Service was done. So if that was the case, I could see that the numbers would be different in how they would be.
So,
Seems fairly simple if we got an answer.
so do you still want this data from Mr. Justice or someone?
I think we probably do need it in writing, but I thought that would, so that we could keep this moving, that would be a consideration.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable to me.
Any other comments, questions? Mr. Henry? Get back up there.
Yes.
Ms.
Do you
Kishinov?
have a copy of the last numbers you asked for Leela? From Leela?
From our redistricting here, I'm sure I do, but I don't have them on me.
Okay. Can you get us a copy of them? Because I think that showed us the most district could ever have before they started filling them out
Yeah,
to be on the line.
I have that document, I just did not bring it
Okay.
with me today. One thing, ladies and gentlemen,
Just one
I'm sorry.
second, please. Mr. Garvin has a question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Todd, if we stay with our 9 districts, would the court or someone even those up or move the council people around in each 9?
I just have to see what the deviation is on the 9. I don't know those numbers right now.
You can address that quick. I don't think the district court is going to look at, they're only looking at this law, and it's my opinion that if they find it to be unconstitutional, they'll give you an opportunity to try to work out something different. Other than that, if they find that's unconstitutional, then we're back to the same law of 9 districts, so there won't be any apportionment until 2012.
I know the one councilman that changed this about 10 years ago, he went to court and they took one from District 4 and I think one from Cherokee County and moved him around.
Yes,
So could that happen this time?
Could.
Stay with 9?
good.
I'm with you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, Mr. Henry, you got the floor again.
Yes, If it's the desire of the council to call out the districting and revamp or revet the rules, tonight is the election law is on the full council agenda. If it's that desire, I would recommend to the council to table the election law tonight, then and allow us to make the call outs. If you
Can you get that done, you believe, by next month, can't you?
Oh, sure, I can get it done real quick, but I can't do it in a couple of hours.
Okay. Any questions or comments, Mr. Baker, if you have a hand up? Questions or comments in regard to tabling the election law tonight so that they can work out the processes, et cetera, that needs to be done?
What are we working out?
The table, the law tonight, the election law that's on the agenda. We'll table that tonight so that they can work out the logistics that needs to be worked out in regard to reapportioning and all that. Everybody clear?
No.
Okay, what is that you don't know?
What are we voting on?
We're not voting on anything right
Well,
now.
what are we talking about? I mean, you're
Tabling the election law that's on the agenda tonight in order to work out the logistics that Todd and Mr. Cole and Chief Smith were going to deliberate on.
It was on your suggestion that we call out the districts part of it.
I understand that.
Okay. Anything else? Any further discussions? Well, that was good. Todd, are we finished? Anything else you want to talk about?
And I got my plate full, so.
All right. Chief Smith, did you want to say anything further? And Mr. Cole, before we adjourn this meeting, either of you?
No, ma'am, I just want the record to show very clearly that Councilman Jordan and I agreed on one issue.
Did you swallow that toothpick?
Well, now, in fairness, I always said I would embrace good ideas.
Right. If you can find them, right?
Yeah, if I-
I have nothing further to add, but we're always available to any of the members. If you have any inquiries about the commission, what we're doing, how we got there, we're more than happy to accommodate you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, did you have any comments as chair of the commission? Oh, Mr. Garvin, I'm sorry.
The Todd Lee,
Yes.
there's a couple of things we need to change on that election. One is on staggered terms, and that wasn't addressed in there. There's something else.
Mr. Garvin is,
Yes, sir.
We got a couple more things we need to change on that election law. It's staggered terms and when the next elections are going to be. They're showing every 4 years. It should be every 2 years.
Okay. I'm sure there's something that has fell in the cracks, and we just
I'm
need to
reading
make
it
sure.
real good like an attorney.
Okay. All right. Good.
Ms. Fitchcock and then Mr. Jordan.
Yeah, I'm just curious, is Doug around?
He is.
Doug, is there anybody besides me and Tanya that's had a lawsuit? Because I know me and her spent $1,700 on attorney fees. Is there anybody else has a lawsuit that does with the election?
Right now?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
On the council?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Mr. Jordan?
What I just want to bring up, Mr. Cole said a while ago that they had to get ready for this election. There's 15 different seats. If this map here stays true, then there won't be that many seats running this time. There'll be just that many districts. There'll be 7.5 districts. Okay, that's all I
Did you get that?
Make a statement. Did you get that? Did you get it?
Lock that in, Todd.
15 different seats running.
This is a little county.
Just wanted to make sure you wasn't running.
Yeah, well, I just want to make sure that there's one running in my district that we keep that map.
Yeah.
If we don't, then maybe there'll be one running in our district.
Right.
Any other comments?
Well, you're a good chairman.
I know, we're getting out of here. Do we have any announcements? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. See Mr. Baker?